माननीय सभापति जी,
Honorable members, I refer with profound sorrow to the passing away of Sri K.R. Jayadevappa, Sri Syed Sipte Raji, Srimati Jayanti Patnaik, Sri Ahmad Saeed Malihabadi, Srimati Ila Ramesh Bhatt, and Sri A. Jinnah, former members of this House. Sri K.R. Jayadevappa passed away on the 23rd December 2021 at the age of 84 years. Born in March 1937 at Malakera village in Devnagari district of Karnataka, Sri Jayadevappa served as legal advisor to the city municipality, Agricultural Produce Market Committee, and several banks of Devnagari, Karnataka. He represented the state of Karnataka in this House from April 1992 to April 1998. In the passing away of Sri K.R. Jayadevappa, the country has lost a proficient advocate and an able parliamentarian. Sri Syed Sipte Raji passed away on the 20th of August 2022 at the age of 83 years. Born in March 1939 in Amethi district of Uttar Pradesh, Sri Raji was actively involved in child and youth welfare and upliftment of weaker sections of the society. Sri Syed Sipte Raji represented the state of Uttar Pradesh in this House for 3 terms during 1980 to 1998. He also served as the governor of the states of Jharkhand and Assam during 2004 to 2009. In the passing away of Sri Sipte Raji, the country has lost a dedicated social worker, an able administrator, and a distinguished parliamentarian. Srimati Jayanti Patnaik passed away on the 28th September 2022 at the age of 90 years. Born in April 1932 at Aska in Ganjam district of Odisha, Srimati Patnaik was actively involved in espousing the cause of women and the promotion of sports. She has the distinction of being the first chairperson of the National Commission for Women, an office she held from 1992 to 1995. Srimati Jayanti Patnaik served as a member of the 7th, 8th and 12th Lok Sabha and as a member of this House, representing the state of Odisha from April 1996 to March 1998. In the passing away of Srimati Jayanti Patnaik, the country has lost an eminent social worker, a sports enthusiast, a champion of the rights of women, and a distinguished parliamentarian. Sri Ahmad Saeed Malihabadi passed away on the 2nd October 2022 at the age of 92 years. Born in October 1930 at Malihabad in Lucknow, in Uttar Pradesh, Sri Malihabadi had worked with Mahatma Gandhi during his stay at Kolkata in 1947 during pre-partition and post-partition of India for peace and communal harmony. A journalist and a writer, Sri Malihabadi served as the chief editor of Azad Hind and Urdu Daily, published from Kolkata. For over 6 decades, he represented the state of West Bengal in this House from April 2008 to April 2014. In the passing away of Sri Ahmad Saeed Malihabadi, the country has lost a veteran journalist, a scholar, and an able parliamentarian. Srimati Ila Ramesh Bhatt passed away on the 2nd of November 2022 at the age of 89 years. Born in September 1933 at Ahmedabad, Gujarat, Srimati Ila Ramesh Bhatt lived by the Gandhian spirit of trusteeship, non-violence, and self-reliance. In 1972, she founded the renowned self-employed Women's Association, SEWA, one of the largest women's cooperatives with over 2 million members from across the country and in neighboring nations. Srimati Ila Ramesh Bhatt was the recipient of several national and international awards, including the prestigious Raman Magsaysay Award in 1977. She served as a nominated member of this House from May 1986 to September 1988. In the passing away of Srimati Ila Ramesh Bhatt, the country has lost a noted social activist, a doyen of women empowerment, and a distinguished parliamentarian. Sri A. Jinnah passed away on the 14th of November 2022 at the age of 81 years. Born in February 1941 at Tiruvarur in Tamil Nadu, Sri Jinnah, an advocate, served as legal advisor to state transport of the government of Tamil Nadu. He served as a member of this House, representing the state of Tamil Nadu from April 2008 to April 2014. In the passing away of Sri A. Jinnah, the country has lost an eminent advocate and an able parliamentarian. We deeply mourn the passing away of Sri K.R. Jayadevappa, Sri Syed Sifti Raji, Srimati Jayanti Patnaik, Sri Ahmad Saeed Maliabadi, Srimati Ila Ramesh Bhatt, and Sri A. Jinnah. I request honorable members to rise in their places and observe silence as a mark of respect to the memory of the departed. Secretary General will convey to the members of the bereaved family our sense of profound sorrow and deep sympathy. Honorable members, before we proceed further, I need to share my thought with you that in this House, if there is any departure from established rules, that does not send a good signal either to the country at large or to other theatres of legislature. I would urge all of you to reflect and scrupulously follow the rules. If one occupying the chair is on legs, a certain kind of decorum is required. I have seen violation of this. I would urge all of you, whomsoever may be in the chair, including myself, we must follow the rule. You all are aware of it. I am sure you will bear that in mind. Papers to be laid on the table. Secretary General.
Sir, with your kind permission, I rise to lay on the table a statement in English and Hindi showing the bills passed by the Houses of Parliament during the 257th session of Rajya Sabha and assented to by the President.
Shri Nityanand Rai.
माननीय सभापति महोदय, मैं आज की कार्यावली में क्रमांक संख्या 1 पर मेरे नाम के सम्मुख उल्लेखित दस्तावेज सभा पटल पर रखता हूँ।
श्रीमती अन्नपूर्णा देवी।
माननीय सभापति महोदय, आपकी अनुमति से आज की कार्यावली सूची की क्रम संख्या 2 पर मेरे नाम के सामने उल्लिखित दस्तावेजों को मैं सभा पटल पर रखती हूँ।
श्री वी मुरलीधरन।
Respected Chairman, sir, with your permission, on behalf of my colleague Sri B.L. Verma ji, I rise to lay the papers listed against his name at serial number 3 in today's list of business.
Message from Lok Sabha, Secretary General.
Sir, with your kind permission, I rise to report that the Lok Sabha at its sitting held on 8th August 2022 passed the New Delhi International Arbitration Center Amendment Bill 2022. I lay a copy of the said bill on the table.
Report of the Department Related Parliamentary Standing Committee on Industry, Shri Tiruchi Siva और श्रीमती सुलता जियो।
Honorable Chairman, sir, I rise to present the 318th report of Department Related Standing Committee on Industry as listed against my name.
Statement by Minister, Shrimati Smriti Zubin Irani.
With my compliments to the Chair and with your kind permission, sir, I wish to make the following statement. In pursuance of the provisions of Rule 35 of Procedure and Conduct of Business, I wish to inform the House status of implementation of recommendations contained in the 334th report of the Department-related Parliamentary Standing Committee on Education, Women, Children, Youth and Sports on issues related to safety of women pertaining to the Ministry of Women and Child Development. Additionally, sir, with your kind permission, in pursuance of the provisions of Rule 35 of Procedure and Conduct of Business, I wish to inform the House status of implementation of recommendations contained in the 338th report of the Department-related Parliamentary Standing Committee on Education, Women, Children, Youth and Sports on demand for grants 2022-23 pertaining to the Ministry of Women and Child Development. Thank you, sir.
I have to inform members that the panel of Vice Chairman has been reconstituted with effect from 5th of December 2022 with the following members. Shri Bhuvaneshwar Kalita, Shri L. Hanumanthaya, Shri Tiruchi Siva, Shri Sukhendu Shekhar Ray, Dr. Sasmit Patra, Ms. Rose Pandey, Shri Surendra Singh Nagar. I have to inform members that the Business Advisory Committee in its meeting held on the 6th of December 2022 has allotted time for government legislative business as follows. Consideration and passing of the Biological Diversity Amendment Bill 2021 after it is passed by Lok Sabha, 4 hours. Consideration and passing of the following bills after their introduction. 1. The Constitution, Scheduled Tribes Order, 5th Amendment Bill 2022, 2 hours. The Constitution, Scheduled Tribes Order, 4th Amendment Bill 2022, 2 hours. The Constitution, Scheduled Tribes Order, 2nd Amendment Bill 2022, 2 hours. The Constitution, Scheduled Tribes Order, 3rd Amendment Bill 2022, 2 hours. The Multi-State Cooperative Societies Amendment Bill 2022, 4 hours. Motion for election to the council established under section 31(1) of the Institute of Technology Act 1961, Dr. Subhash Sarkar, to move a motion for election of one member to the council established under subsection 1 of section 31 of the Institutes of Technology Act 1961.
Honorable Chairman, sir, with your kind permission, I rise to move the motion of election of one member from amongst the members of the House to be a member of the Council established under subsection 1 of section 31 of the Institutes of Technology Act 1961, mentioned against the name of my colleague, Cabinet Minister Sri Dharmendra Pradhan, in today's list of business.
Motion moved. Those in favor will say aye. Those against will say no. सर आपने तो ठीक कहा मौसम बदल गया है I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the motion is adopted. Motion for election to the Council of National Institutes of Technology, Science, Education and Research, Dr. Subhash Sarkar, to move a motion for election of one member to the Council of National Institutes of Technology, Science, Education and Research.
Honorable Chairman, sir, with your kind permission, I rise to move the motion of election of one member from amongst the members of the House to be a member of the Council of National Institute of Technology, Science, Education and Research, that is NITSER, mentioned against the name of my colleague, Cabinet Minister Sri Dharmendra Pradhan ji, in today's list of business.
Motion moved. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Statement by Minister Shri S. Jaishankar.
Honorable Chairman, sir, I rise to apprise this august House of the key foreign policy engagements and initiatives taken by India since the monsoon session, which ended on 8 August 2022. During this period, Indian diplomacy continued apace. Honorable President, Honorable Vice President, and Honorable Prime Minister interacted with a number of their foreign counterparts in India and abroad. We also participated in events linked to the G20, the SCO, and the ASEAN, while hosting a number of foreign dignitaries in India. This included the Secretary General, Antonio Guterres of the United Nations. I myself visited a number of nations, as did our Minister of States, and we received many of our counterpart colleagues here in India. Together, these activities reflected India's growing interest, expanding footprint, and more intensive partnerships. Through these efforts at multiple levels, we were able to advance our national objectives in a world that is increasingly beset with uncertainties, disruptions, and rivalries. Honorable President met Her Majesty Queen Maxima of Netherlands, who visited India from 29 to 31 August 2022 in her capacity as the UN Secretary General's Special Advocate. Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina, also called on Honorable President during her state visit to India. Honorable President's first overseas visit was to the United Kingdom to attend the funeral of the late Queen Elizabeth II. Honorable Vice President represented India at the India-ASEAN Commemorative Summit at Cambodia, which elevated the India-ASEAN relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership. He also attended the 17th East Asia Summit, which is an important forum to promote free, open, inclusive, and rules-based Indo-Pacific. Apart from bilateral engagements in Phnom Penh, he visited UNESCO World Heritage temples at Taprom and Angkor Wat, where conservation and restoration work has taken place with India's support. Furthermore, on the invitation of His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Amir of Qatar, Honorable Vice President attended the opening ceremony of the FIFA World Cup 2022. This reflected India's long-standing relationship with Qatar, which is home to over 8.5 lakh Indian nationals. Honorable Prime Minister participated in the Samarkand summit of the SCO Council of Heads of States, where India assumed chairmanship of SCO. As chair of SCO, India's priorities are to advance the theme of secure, articulated by the Prime Minister initially at the SCO summit in Qingdao in 2018. Secure stands for security, economic cooperation, connectivity, unity, respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, and environment. At Samarkand, Prime Minister voiced global sentiment when he declared that this was not an era of war. His statement was in the context of the Ukraine conflict, where our advocacy of dialogue and diplomacy has been consistent and persistent. It has a larger resonance as well. We have also extended support on specific concerns such as supply of food grains and fertilizers, as indeed on security of nuclear installations. Our position has been broadly appreciated by the international community and finds reflection in the G20 Bali Declaration. I am very happy to inform the House that Kashi has been designated as the first SCO cultural and tourist capital for 2022-23. This would facilitate showcasing of our age-old knowledge inheritance and our rich social and cultural heritage. The Prime Minister also attended the state funeral of the late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe of Japan, who was a particular friend of India. In his meeting with his counterpart, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, Prime Minister noted the invaluable contributions made by Shinzo Abe to strengthening India-Japan relations, as well as conceptualizing the vision of a free, open, and inclusive Indo-Pacific region. Both PMs renewed their commitment towards enhancing India-Japan strategic and global partnership and to work towards promoting regional and international cooperation. The Secretary General of the United Nations, His Excellency Antonio Guterres, paid an official visit to India from 18-20 October and joined Prime Minister in Kevadia to jointly launch the Lifestyle for Environment, LIFE initiative. Heads of state and governments from France, UK, Estonia, Georgia, Maldives, Nepal, Madagascar, Mauritius, Argentina, and Guyana contributed with the messages of support for the LIFE initiative. Allow me, Chairman Sir, to now turn to the subject of G20. As the House is aware, the Prime Minister attended the Bali G20 summit recently, and we soon thereafter assumed its presidency. G20 is the premier forum for global economic cooperation, representing around 85% of the global GDP, over 75% of worldwide trade, and about two-thirds of the world's population. Prime Minister has noted that India's presidency of the G20 during the year of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is a matter of pride for every Indian. The G20 meetings have already commenced in India, and our endeavor is to organize about 200 of these meetings in 32 different sectors in multiple locations across India. The G20 summit is to be held next year, and it would be one of the highest profile international gatherings to be hosted by this country. During the G20 Bali summit, held under Indonesia's presidency, India extended fullest support to ensure its success. Our contribution to finding a common ground among members in a polarized environment was widely appreciated. Prime Minister also held discussions with counterpart leaders on key issues of global concern. They focused mainly on reviving global growth, ensuring food and energy security, promoting technology, preserving environment, and addressing public health and digital transformation. As is customary, many of these opportunities also provided an occasion to take stock of our bilateral relationships. Since we are assuming that responsibility, this was also a time to seek the support and cooperation of all G20 members for the success of India's presidency. Honorable members are aware that the G20 is taking place in the larger context of a geopolitical crisis. Food and energy insecurity, slow progress on sustainable development growth, mounting debt burden, and challenges to climate action and climate justice. Our endeavor is to build consensus within the G20, champion causes, especially of the Global South, and shape the setting of the agenda. This will also be an occasion for us to highlight the 3 Ds of India: development, democracy, and diversity. In our global engagements, we have discerned strong interest in India's digital delivery, public health response, green growth and development, as well as the empowerment of all sections of society. There is also an enhanced interest in our democratic traditions, which go way back in our pluralistic and consultative culture. We envisage the G20 presidency as an occasion to showcase India to the world. This will be done through cultural activities, regional festivals, technology programs, sustainability initiatives, millet promotion, one district, one product promotion, community engagement, and civil society activities. Our presidency will witness a Jan Bhagidari, where all of India would not just participate, but celebrate this occasion. As the House is aware, government has briefed leaders of political parties in this regard. We see this as a truly national endeavor and seek the cooperation of everybody to make it a success. I would also like to highlight that India will provide a stronger voice to issues of interest of the Global South. This is very much a part of our DNA. It was in evidence most recently during the vaccine Maitri. Our emphasis will be on sharing the India story, caring for all, and taking collective action. It will focus on emphasizing our achievements and priorities such as digital India, clean energy, sustainable lifestyles, women-led development, and multilateral reforms. Prime Minister's initiative on lifestyle for environment, and India's millet initiative, which has resulted in the UN declaration of the year 2023 as the International Year of Millets, would also be prominent in India's approach towards addressing the SDGs. Today, we are building stronger bridges with both developing countries and advanced economies. Apart from our G20 presidency, we are members of a growing number of groups and mechanisms. Some of them are relatively established, like the BRICS and Commonwealth. Others have been more recent, like the Quad and SCO, and still others are emerging, like the I2U2 and the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. We are also increasingly engaging the world in group formats, reflecting the growing interest on their part to cooperating with India. This could be with the ASEAN, with Africa or the Pacific Islands, or indeed the Nordic nations, CARICOM, CELAC, or Central Asia. Our growing collaboration with the European Union is of particular importance. Chairman, sir, I would like to share with the House that the ministers of MEA have been equally active during this period. I have myself hosted the foreign ministers of Maldives, France, Singapore, Botswana, United Kingdom, Ghana, Gabon, Belarus, Syria, UAE, and Germany in this period. I would also highlight the India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable and the collective interaction with 12 African ministers dealing with education and skills who were here at the invitation of my colleague Dharmendra Pradhan. that took place in Delhi. It would give the honorable members a sense of the breadth of our engagement and the growing global interest in India. This was also in evidence during my outgoing visits to Thailand, Brazil, Paraguay, Argentina, UAE, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Uzbekistan, USA, Australia, New Zealand, Egypt, and Russia. It was my privilege to represent India at the UN General Assembly high-level segment this year. I took the occasion to engage with the G4, the L69, Quad, IPSA, BRICS, CELAC, and CARICOM, and hold multiple trilaterals and bilaterals. Our ministers of state have been equally vigorous in promoting India's interests abroad. Sri Muralidharanji went to Brazil, Senegal, USA, Oman, Djibouti, Kenya, Eritrea, and Nigeria. Srimati Meenakshi Lekhiji represented India at the SICA summit at Kazakhstan and visited Georgia, Norway, Iceland, and Malta. Dr. Rajkumar Ranjan Singhji was our representative at the IORA Ministerial and visited Indonesia. So, the House would also be aware that as the chair of the Counter-Terrorism Committee of the UN Security Council, India hosted its special meeting in October. All 15 members participated and paid homage to victims of the 26/11 terrorist attack at the Memorial Wall in the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. This was the first time that the UNSC held a meeting in India. The Delhi Declaration emphasized the need to display zero tolerance towards terrorism and to combat it in all its forms and manifestations. Chairman, sir, I'm happy to inform the House that after a gap created by COVID, India will be hosting the 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas at Indore from 8 to 10 January 2023. This year's theme acknowledges the contributions of Indian diaspora as, quote, diaspora, reliable partners for India's progress in Amrit Kal, unquote. The 32 million Indian diaspora is a great source of support for our country. India's 4C commitment of care, connect, celebrate, and contribute would be on display during these celebrations. His Excellency President Muhammad Irfan Ali of Guyana will be the chief guest of the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas 2023. Where Republic Day 2023 is concerned, we have invited His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of Egypt as the chief guest. He has graciously accepted the invitation. Honorable members would also be glad to know that the 12th World Hindi Conference will be jointly organized by India and Fiji from 15 to 17 February 2023 at Fiji. This will be the first occasion for hosting this event in the Pacific region. Chairman, sir, foreign policy today is no longer just an exercise of a ministry or even simply that of the government. It has a direct impact on the daily lives of all Indians. This may be in ensuring that our products have market access or that our talent gets into the global workplace. But it is equally an effort to ensure that technology, best practices, and capital flow into India. Our endeavor in a difficult global situation is that the welfare of the Indian people is ensured, however challenging the circumstances. This may be in exceptional situations like Operation Ganga in Ukraine, or the ability to access key necessities like energy and fertilizers on affordable terms. Or indeed, in concluding migration and mobility partnerships, as we have just done with Germany. Indian foreign policy is there to serve the Indian people. We will do whatever it takes to discharge that responsibility. It could be in ensuring international support for our policies or in the acceptance globally of our interests and objectives. These may be difficult times, but it is also an occasion to display our leadership and make a strong contribution to global peace, stability, growth, and security. Honorable members know this well and understandably approach the ministry sometimes with their particular concerns and issues. It has been our earnest effort to respond as effectively and as sincerely as possible to their communications. We are extremely conscious that foreign policy must respond to the requirements and demands of our society. We demonstrate that as much through the activities of our embassies abroad as we do at home through improved passport and immigration services. I have every confidence that this august House does appreciate both our promotion of national interests abroad as well as our responsiveness to the daily requirements of our people. I conclude with the expectation that the House will continue to extend its fullest support to our efforts and encourage our success in the G20 presidency in particular and foreign policy in general. Thank you so much.
सर, G20 में भी मुलाकात हुई होगी, कई जगह मुलाकात हुई होगी। क्या जहां हमारे 20 जवानों की शहादत हुई, उस चीन सीमा के संदर्भ में जहां चीन ने बलपूर्वक कब्जा किया, कोई वार्ता आपकी हुई है? बस इतना ही जानना चाहता हूं। आप बताना चाहें बताएं, और अगर बताने लायक ना हो तो मत बताइएगा।
I think one second. One second. I had made an appeal to the honorable members, and you are more cognizant than I am. This is a House of Elders, the upper house. We are required to conduct our proceedings in a manner that generates an ecosystem of emulation all over. The Honorable Minister has imparted a very thorough statement. Members of the House are entitled to seek clarifications. In a methodical manner, input has been made available to me. I would be happy that others also follow the same system. Dr. Amar Patnaik.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. I'd like to thank Honorable External Affairs Minister for a very detailed and expansive statement about India's foreign policy outreach, as well as meeting domestic requirements. I have just two clarifications to ask the Honorable Minister at paragraph number 12. There is a general statement at a number of paragraphs regarding India's leadership role in the technology front. On the specific question of trusted cross-border data flow, as well as to deal with virtual digital assets, would India be considering promotion of a global body to have a principle-based global order on the lines of the WTO, or would it like to do this entire thing within the ambit of WTO? The second clarification, sir, is that all over the world, wherever I travel, the question of inequity, particularly in the areas of health, area of education, digital inequity, these arise, but in Africa, for example. Would India be taking the lead in putting this particular ethos in the G20 and represent the least developed countries of Africa, Asia, and Southeast Asia to the global north? Thank you so much, sir.
Honorable Minister.
Sir, with regard to the clarification sought on digital.
Minister, finally, the Honorable Minister would respond. I have another list with me, just given to me, Shri Waiko. We have three more names, Honorable Minister. Initially, there was one.
Honorable Mr. Chairman, sir, the statement given by the Minister shows very clearly that our mutual interests with other countries and our positive approach towards other countries. But I would like to know, Geneva, under the United Nations, it is a very important organization. There, when the voting took place regarding Sri Lanka, for what reasons India abstained from voting. This is my first clarification I want to reply from you. Second thing, at our doorstep the genocide took place. Lakhs and lakhs of Tamils were killed and women were raped and children were killed, and the previous government gave weapons. That is different. But now, when all these things have happened, you are giving support now to Sri Lanka. But Sri Lanka has leased out Hambantota port to China, and recently also Chinese warship landed in the port, compromising our national security and coastal security. It will have a serious bearing on India's security and economic and strategic interests and maritime and coastal facilities. On this important issue, what steps you have taken to protect the interests of India?
Professor Manoj Kumar Jha.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman, sir. My compliments to you on assuming a charge. My first compliment to Honorable Minister, sir. It is very comprehensive. You almost touched every aspect of it. But there are certain concerns which I would like to know from you. Many a time when we read about Government of India's stand or position paper, it seems that the foreign policy has only been shaped by after 2014. So this 2014-centric approach of foreign policy undermines the people and the processes which were involved since 1947. Number one, sir. Number two, India had a very stated position, Honorable Minister, sir, through you, Honorable Chairman. In a conflict between oppressor and the oppressed, India never was neutral. Between a fight between an elephant and an ant, if your neutrality helps the elephant, I think there somehow, recent developments in Gaza, I think I didn't hear anything from Government of India. And finally, between Ukraine and Russia, it was a very, very delicate chapter. We have our versions different from you, but whatever I think you could create a space, you did. But it could have been better. Thank you so much, sir.
Dr. John Bittas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Let me also congratulate you taking this opportunity. I'm glad that the Honorable Minister made a very detailed statement touching every point. At the same time, I support my colleague Mr. Manoj Jha that he has avoided dealing with the Palestinian cause for which India has been always steadfast. So I would request the Honorable Minister to have his response on that. So the second clarification is that there have been a lot of talk regarding the extent of pressure exerted by the West on India with regard to the purchase of oil from Russia. The minister has been very diversionary on that point. I would request him to obviously pronounce his mind on that. So the third point is that there has been a price cap imposed by the European Union with regard to the oil price from Russia. How it is going to impact the purchase of oil from Russia vis-a-vis India and Russia. So the fourth point is that, is it not a fact that the chairmanship of G20 is on a rotational basis? And if so, the theme that one earth, one family, one future, will the government respect the diverse culture of India while campaigning on this slogan? And the last point, sir, not the least, sir, there have been thousands of students who have come back from Ukraine. And there was a statement by the Honorable Minister last time. I would like to know from the Minister whether all these students have gone back to Ukraine or how he has facilitated the study further. Thank you, sir.
Shri Tiruchi Siva.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, sir. Sir, we appreciate our Prime Minister's voice at Samarkand, declaring that this is not an era of war. But the Ukraine war is still going on. The people there are undergoing so much of struggle. They are struggling for basic food and everything. other than the students who have come here, whose future is still in a question and they have not yet been resolved. In a humanitarian consideration, India has always intervened wherever there is some problem for any human being in the world. So in this context, what are the steps our government is taking to put an end to this war and save the people of Ukraine, as well as to restore the students who have returned from there, to find a way for those students who have returned from Ukraine? Thank you, sir.
Shri Thambi Durai.
Thank you very much for giving the opportunity. Sir, our Honorable Minister gave detailed explanation and a statement regarding the foreign affairs thing. I appreciate him. And also, especially G20, which is going to take place, is a very is a good for our Indian country. Our Modi ji has taken a lot of efforts, I appreciate. But, sir, as our Honorable Member Vaiko ji raised on issue, Sri Lanka Tamil issue, apart from that, Sri Lanka and India had a pact to solve the Sri Lankan Tamil issue. That I'm giving some amendment and protect the rights. What is the stage now? That is, at the time, Jayavardhane and Honorable former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, they made an agreement. Whether the government is very seriously insisting that to get the, because when we are conducting our program, the G20, it is a prestige for India. At the same time, our neighbor, our brothers who also has said died and also for certain causes. But what is the fate of that fact? Whether government India has taken a serious step on this thing?
Mr. Sujit Kumar.
Sir, I will certainly commend the Honorable Minister for his detailed statement on India's foreign policy and for providing competent leadership. Sir, I have a specific query for him. Sir, while all eyes are on the World Cup in Qatar, sir, little is known about the fate of 8 Indian ex-naval officers who are in detention in that country for close to 100 days now. Sir, as per newspaper reports, they were picked up in the middle of the night from their home and are kept in solitary confinement since 30th of August. And consular access was provided to them only on 3rd of October. Sir, the family members have expressed serious concerns about the health, mental harassment of the ex-heroes of our country. And sir, it seems that MEA is not very forthcoming on what dialogue is going on with the Qatari government to secure and seek their release and repatriation. And also, sir, it is believed that this has been done and they have been charged with espionage, apparently at the behest of one of our neighbor, unfriendly neighbor. So, sir, through you, sir, I would like to know from the Honorable Minister, what are the steps being taken by the Government of India to seek the release of our former heroes? Thank you.
Mr. Pramod Tiwari. No, he was interrupted. I asked him to take seat because it had not come through a method. Go ahead.
सर, मेरा सिर्फ एक विनम्रता पूर्वक राष्ट्र हित में एक सवाल है कि मिले होंगे आप, वहाँ अच्छी बात भी हुई होगी, G20 में भी मिले थे और जगह मिले थे। हमारे 21 जवानों की शहादत हुई है भारत चीन सीमा पर। कुछ भूभाग भी उन्होंने काफी कब्जा कर रखा है। क्या उसके संदर्भ में कोई वार्ता हुई हो तो आप अवश्य बताएं, पूरा राष्ट्र जानना चाहता है, ये आवश्यक है। बहुत ही बहुत धन्यवाद।
Mr. Binoy Vishwam.
Sir, thank you. Sir, the statement made by the Honorable Minister Jaishankar ji is so important to the contemporary times. And the keen interest the House attributed to him shows that how important it is for this House also. I am grateful to the Minister and for his broad-heartedness. So on certain questions, I share the views raised by my colleagues like Manoj Kumar Jha and John Bittas and some others. Sir, certain questions, India has to be very clear that on Palestine, always we were having a position. We stood with the people of Palestine. We regarded them always as our friends and sons and daughters. Now we feel whether there is a tilt of our voice in that matter. kindly be clarified. Sir, just like that, the concerns of the students who came from Ukraine is haunting all of us. I know that the minister also tried his level best, but still they are having anxiety of their future, their families too. Kindly adjust them. Sir, the third point is that the SAU, South Asian University, run by the SAARC countries. India is hosting it in Delhi. Sir, the SAU students and the teachers are facing a problem. That has to be settled. I am very sure that the diplomatic skill of our minister can help it. I am very sure that he has intervened. I wrote to him, he replied to me also. But I am very clearly telling you, the matters are yet to be answered clearly. So please, sir, serve the issue. My next point is that regarding the, I went through the agenda of G20, and now we are the chairman. The chairmanship is rotation, sir. Last year it was Indonesia. Next year somebody else will come. It will come. So it is very good that India is now the chairman. Of course, by rotation. During this chairmanship, we believe that our great country will make its own impact on the G20 countries and all over the world. In that regard, I may ask the government. In the agenda of the G20, I read women empowerment is an important issue. Women empowerment. Will the government be positive enough to enact the women reservation bill during this period? My question. Next question is that regarding the environment. He also mentioned it. The agenda of the G20, environment and climate change is very properly focused. And now we see that in Nicobar Islands, my friends knows it, Prabhandar Yadav knows it. Big disastrous steps are being taken there. Lakhs and lakhs of trees are being cut off. And the balance of the island and the whole situation area is the
Clarification.
So I request the, no. So I
focus the point.
I am focusing on you, sir. I am focusing on you, and I am focusing on you for protection also. Sir, some friends there, out of their voice or enthusiasm, they want to raise voice and make people silent.
Lieutenant General,
I can tell you, that's not the way of the house. I want to conclude that. Let me conclude. Let me finish the question. No, sir. Let me finish it. Let me finish it. Let me finish it. I respect the chairman.
Okay.
One sentence more. Sir, one sentence more.
Point of order.
One sentence more.
1 second.
How can they bulldoze the chairman?
Sir, Rule 240.
Rule
240.
240. Yes.
Sir, irrelevance. The chairman, after having called the attention of the council to conduct of a member who persist in irrelevance. सर ये completely जो foreign policy का issue है, हमने regulation से कोई चीज पास करी है, पार्लियामेंट में मैं क्वेश्चन का जवाब दूंगा, जो इनका irrelevant विषय सर पहले वो कार्यवाही से हटाया जाए सर, क्योंकि irrelevant चीज आप डिबेट में नहीं बोल सकते सर, rule is very much clear.
Honorable members, it is, I think, third time on the first day I am required to appeal to you. I seek your cooperation. I have indicated with clarity the kind of anguish, disillusionment which the proceedings are imparting in public at large. More than any other theatre of legislature, this theatre has to take the lead. This theatre has to set standards that are to be emulated by any other center in the country. I would therefore urge you to confine to dignity, decorum, and be in a focused manner. I have carefully gone through every word spoken by the Honorable Minister, and you will find a spinal strength of the foreign policy which he has articulated in a focused manner. I personally have had the occasion on my 2 visits abroad, the kind of reflections that have affirmatively evoked. I would appreciate that while you raise your concerns, he is the right person to respond to your issues by way of imparting clarification. We must, one second, we must also be cognizant that we are dealing with a sensitive issue of national importance that has impact in the country and outside. Your concerns reflected are critical and important. They would be responded. But if there is any diversion, dilution, or some kind of a distraction, that will not be in consonance with the upper house or the House of Elders. I would now call upon Okay.
Last sentence. No.
Okay, one second. Last sentence. Go ahead. Please conclude.
If there is no mention in the G20 agenda on the women empowerment and climate change, I withdraw my position. If there is, I ask the government, what you do in Nicobar Islands are anti-environment, disastrous to environment. Kindly stop it.
Okay. Lieutenant General Dr. D.P. Watts.
Sir, through you, I want to clarify from the MEA. Indian diaspora is the biggest in the world, but still it needs to expand. And lakhs of students, especially with technical know-how, they want to go on work visa, on study visa. What MEA is doing to encourage such technocrats who want to achieve the know-how, expertise, and be beneficial to us in earning foreign exchange.
Sri Syed Nazir Hussain.
Sir, thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. Sir, as you know and most of the members of the House knows, that in the last couple of sessions, we have been raising this issue of Indo-China border dispute. And we have been raising this issue through the rule of the House, and on several occasions, it was not allowed to be discussed in the House. I would have liked the External Affairs Minister to have dwelled upon this issue in his statement. Okay. It's an important issue, and I wish he not only clarifies today, and I wish he gives a separate statement on the state of affairs on our border. One. Second, sir, I had already written a letter to the External Affairs Minister on South Asian University. He had replied back to me, which was not very satisfactory. I think, though the South Asian countries are involved in that university, since it is situated in India, especially in the national capital, when the students are agitating and the teachers are also involved, and a couple of them happens to be my friends also, my classmates also. So I think that should have been taken up seriously, and it should have been resolved instead of punishing the students. The third issue is, sir, as many of our friends stated, on the issue of Palestine, we have a well-stated foreign policy. Our stand is very clear from last 40, 50 years. I think we should be moving in that direction. There should be more clarity from the days of our freedom struggle. So I think there should be more clarity, and there should be some clarification on that issue also. Thank you so much, sir.
Sri A.A. Rahim.
Sir, the MT Heroic Aiden is an oil tanker which is currently detained in Nigeria along with its crew. The crew consists of 26 sailors, of whom 16 are Indians. Sir, the sailors has been detained since on 8th August. Sir, this is a very, very aggressive matter. No. I am, see, no. See, so,
honorable members,
so this is a concern.
Honorable members,
sir, this is a concern.
Honorable members, would you please take your seat? take your seat. Once, settle down, then I'm here to take care of the situation. If you start dealing amongst yourselves directly, I don't have to tell you the importance and relevance of the chair. What can be more unwholesome? There is a simple method of putting across one second. There is a method where you can put your point very firmly, persuasively, moderately, in any manner you like. It has to be through the chair. And we will be saving precious public time and getting good response by way of input from the Honorable Minister if there is formulation in precise terms. You raise your point.
Thank you, sir.
Please,
Thank you,
he's on legs.
Thank you very much, sir.
You see, it does not look nice for me on the first day that I suffer these kind of interruptions. I am here to accommodate everyone. I am going to an extreme degree. But that accommodation has to be on rational premise and on some rationale. So don't have interest exchanges. I am the one you have to address. I am the one who has to call upon. Please conclude.
Sir, once again, I would like to salute you, sir.
Please.
Sir, since 4 months, 16 Indians are illegally detained. Illegally detained. This is my concern. This is my question. Sir, these 16 parents and families are absolutely they are under panic. So, what are you taking the steps regarding this issue? This is my question. I already wrote a detailed letter to Honorable Minister, and I hope that the government will take this issue with a serious manner. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Vishwadram. Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. Sir, here in this document, Minister has very detailed manner. He made the Pravasi Bharat Divas and the programs. So here, I request the Minister for the clarification regarding the government. The government is aware of the number of the Indians in different countries and the number of Indians that their jobs and also how many are lost their jobs in this recent crisis. This thing is, if Minister is ready to explain here, that is very helpful for us.
Honorable members, there are no further names. So you should be happy to note that on this issue of critical importance, where the Honorable Minister has imparted his statement, I have given you full operational play. The Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister.
So I'd very quickly like to respond to the request for clarifications from multiple members, even if they couched it sometimes in a non-clarificatory way. Starting with Shri Amarpat Nayak ji, sir. The question of cross-border digital flows is not a direct foreign policy issue. It is under the domain of my colleague, MeitY Minister. It is a matter on which government's views have been put in the public domain for comments. So I think it is obviously something that will evolve as public comments come in and the matter will be pursued. Regarding his second clarification, inequity, will we speak up for Africa? Will we take up Africa's cause and interest in the G20? Absolutely, the answer is an unambiguous yes. Regarding Sir Vaikoji's two questions, one about our abstention in the UN Human Rights Commission. This has been a long-standing position by India, keeping in mind what not just this government but its predecessor governments have also thought is the most constructive way of addressing and advancing the interests of the Tamil community in Sri Lanka. That continues to be our approach. Regarding the support we have given to Sri Lanka, please, I would request the Honourable Member to appreciate, we have given support to the entirety of Sri Lanka, which also includes the Tamil community, the Sinhalese community, the other communities. So we have not taken a communal approach to giving support. To have a neighbor in this kind of serious economic situation, we would be shirking our responsibilities if we did not step forward at that moment, and that is exactly what we have done. If I could move on, sir, to Dr. Manoj Kumar Jha's observations. One, he asked, the view of foreign policy is to 2014 centric. I don't think that is accurate. I think if you look at everything that I have said, it is not that, in some way I'm suggesting that what has been a continuing strain in our foreign policy, and I'll come to the Palestine issue particularly in that context. But since you are asking me, I would say yes, 2014 was a watershed moment. Yes, things have changed better after 2014. Yes, our foreign policy has become more dynamic, more effective, more prominent after 2014. So I think I'm so glad you picked up the 2014 issue, and I hope you will be supportive of it. On the Gaza issue and the Palestine issue, because some other members also raised it. We are very clear on Palestine. We support, sir, a two-state solution. We want a two-state solution with the two states living peacefully side by side. Some of the members suggested somewhere that our support or empathy for the Palestinians had changed. In fact, our financial support for the Palestinian Refugee Welfare Agency has gone up in the tenure of this government. I hope that honorable members would appreciate that. The issue was also raised about the neutrality, not my words, sir, this was the honorable member's clarification request, on the Ukraine situation. And Professor Jha suggested that he could do my job better. I mean, that is certainly he is free to hold that opinion. What I do want to say is we have been clear, publicly clear at the Prime Minister's level that this is not an era of war. We have consistently urged dialogue and diplomacy. When it comes to the impact of the war on Indian people or in the rest of the world, we have also done the right things about that. We have taken measures to soften the impact, whether it is of fuel or whether it is of food inflation, whether it is of fertilizer costs. So if it is your contention that our position has been in putting the interests of the Indian public first, I plead guilty to it. Yes, I put the interests of the Indian public first. It is my duty to ensure that fuel, fertilizer, food, the Indian public does not pay the cost of some other country's actions or some other region's actions. I think that is the way, in my view at least, foreign policy should be conducted. If I could turn then, sir, to Mr. John Brittas's comments. One, the Palestine issue I have already addressed. The pressure from the West, I think I have addressed publicly. I have said again what I have just mentioned. I would like to clarify. We do not ask our companies to buy Russian oil. We ask our companies to buy oil. What is the best option that they can get? Now, it depends on what the market throws up. If tomorrow the market gives us more competitive options, again, please do understand, it's not just we buy oil from one country. We buy oil from multiple sources. But it is sensible policy to go where we get the best deal in the interest of the Indian people. And that is exactly what we are trying to do. Regarding the oil cap, the impact of this is not very clear to us. Our concern is really what would it do to the stability and the affordability of the energy markets. That is a concern. On his clarification regarding diversity in the G20, absolutely yes. I mean, the fact that we are going to celebrate the G20 across the states of India in multiple cities in a manner in which we have never done any international event before. I think that is the greatest statement of proof of diversity, of our commitment to diversity that I can make. And it is spread without, without discrimination across every state of every region of this country. And finally, because again multiple members asked about this, where on the Ukraine students, some of the students have gone back, some have looked for other solutions. In some cases, the Ukrainian authorities have offered some solutions. So it is a very mixed picture. Unfortunately, there is no clean and simple answer here, but the government is doing what it can in this situation. That was also a concern which Trichy Shivaji raised about the Ukrainian students. If I could turn then, sir, to the clarification sought by Thambi Doreji about the India-Sri Lanka agreement of 1987. It is still an agreement. It is an agreement which has been the basis for changes in Sri Lanka, including provincial councils which have come about as a result. In our view, it is still an agreement that continues to remain the foundation of how both our relationship with Sri Lanka is conducted and how Sri Lanka itself looks at its own future. So I would like to assure him that we continue to. It is very much on our radar. We are very, very supportive of it. Then, sir, if I could turn to the clarification sought by Sri Sujit Kumarji. This is a very sensitive case. I'm referring to the detention of some of our ex-servicemen in Qatar. I can only say, because their interests are foremost in our minds, I can only assure him we have been seized of the matter. Our ambassador, senior officials have been in continuous touch with the Qatari government on this. Our effort is obviously to ensure that they are not treated unfairly and that the sooner we can bring them back home. So I assure you that they are very much, very strongly in our priorities in respect of Qatar, and it is something that we will be pursuing. Regarding Shri Pramod Tiwariji's clarification request on China, and I think Nazir Hussain ji also brought up the same issue. Diplomatically, we have been very clear. We have been very clear with the Chinese that we will not tolerate, we will not countenance attempts to unilaterally change the line of actual control, and that so long as they continue to seek to do that, and if they have built up forces which in our minds constitute a serious concern in the border areas, then our relationship is not normal. And the abnormality of that has been in evidence in the last few years. Meanwhile, the military commanders continue to engage each other, and I think given the sensitivity of that matter, it is something which is left to the military commanders to deal with, and I think the House should be understanding of the national sensitivity of such a delicate matter. Regarding Binay Vishwamji's issue, I think the Palestinian issue I have addressed, the Ukrainian issue I have addressed, but I think two members, sir, had concerns about the South Asia University. He did and Nazir Hussain ji did. I would like to assure the members, we would like obviously to not see this kind of situation. But the South Asian University is not under the direct jurisdiction of the Government of India or the Ministry of External Affairs. It is something which is run by a collection of countries, and part of the problem is that some of the countries have not made the payments which they were required to do for the university. So the university is going through a period of very severe financial stress. Now, beyond that, there are issues of management and academic freedom for the university, because it is an international university. It is not the policy of the Government of India to interfere in the workings of an international university. But we will, whatever influence and counsel we can give them to sort out any problems in an amicable and non-stressful way, certainly we would do that. On the issue of agenda of G20, yes, women-led development would certainly be high among our priorities, as will be a set of sustainability issues, including as my own statement said, lifestyle for environment. I think it's not, again, my direct subject. My colleague Bhupender Yadav ji will bear out that at COP27, what we are doing in environment is, I think, today increasingly recognized. I had the privilege, along with him, to be with the Prime Minister at COP26 as well. So I think we should look really at today at how the world sees our contributions and progress when it comes to climate action and climate justice. So I would not take the very pessimistic view which the Honourable Member has done. Regarding General Wats's point about study visas, we are very concerned that a number of countries, for reasons which have to do with finance and their processes, have slowed down issue of visas. We have taken up with many of these countries. I myself have done at the ministerial level with the US, with the UK. Yesterday I did it with Germany. In many cases our intervention has led to an improvement. I still think there is some distance to go, but it is certainly, as I said, we run a people-centric foreign policy in the Modi government, and certainly today facilitating the faster issue of visas would be very, very high among our priorities. Finally, on the heroic Idum, the ship issue, sir, the one in Nigeria, even though it is not a policy issue, as my colleague recognized, I would like the member to know we have been in touch with the crew since August. It was detained, the people were initially detained in Equatorial Guinea. They were then brought to Nigeria. They are facing charges in court. There are a number of charges, including oil smuggling against them. We have given them consular support. Our High Commissioner has gone to see them. It is again our endeavor to ensure that they are not unjustly treated, that they have full access to all recourse of law, and that they have the ability to communicate with their family. The last question, the loss of jobs. How many Indians are there abroad? Our estimate is that there are 3.2 crore persons of Indian origin and Indian nationals living abroad. But regarding their job loss figures during the COVID, that is not something, because the data is not maintained by Government of India, so I cannot honestly answer the question. I hope, sir, I have provided full clarification to all the questions.
The Wildlife Protection Amendment Bill 2022, Shri Bhupender Yadav to move a motion for consideration of the Wildlife Protection Amendment Bill 2022. Time allotted is 4 hours.
Respected Chairman, sir, I move that the Wildlife Protection Amendment Bill 2022, as passed by the Lok Sabha to further amend the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, be taken into consideration.
Honorable members, Honorable Minister, if you like to say about the bill, you may speak.
मैं कुछ बोलना चाहूँगा। माननीय सभापति महोदय, भारतीय वन्यजीव संरक्षण विधेयक जो 1972 में पारित किया गया था, उसमें मैं संशोधन के लिए विधेयक सदन के समक्ष प्रस्तावित करता हूं। दुनिया में जो एक विभिन्न देशों के बीच में संधि है, कन्वेंशन ऑफ इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड ऑन एंडेंजर्ड स्पीशीज, जिस प्रकार से वन्य जीव और वन्य संपदा दुनिया में विलुप्त होती जा रही है और कुछ संपदाएं इस कगार पे आ गई हैं कि उनका संरक्षण करना आवश्यक है, इसको लेकर के दुनिया के सभी देशों के अंतर्गत एक संधि 1976 में हुई थी। हम सब जानते हैं कि वन्य जीवों का जो अवैध व्यापार होता है उसको रोकने के लिए और उसके साथ ही साथ उसमें रेगुलेशन लाने के लिए हर देश के अंतर्गत नियमों को बनाने का और कानून को पारित करने का प्रावधान किया गया था। भारत सरकार भी इस अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संधि के सदस्य है हालांकि हमारे देश में जो इस प्रकार का अवैध व्यापार होता है उसको कस्टम एक्ट के तहत, फॉरेन ट्रेड डेवलपमेंट और रेगुलेशन एक्ट के तहत और एक्जिम पॉलिसी एंड वाइल्ड लाइफ प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट के तहत नियंत्रित किया जाता है। परंतु इस संधि के अंतर्गत दुनिया के सभी देशों के लिए ये कहा गया था कि एक अलग से वन्य जीवों का एक स्ट्रक्चर ढांचा बनाया जाना चाहिए। मैं कहना भी चाहूँगा कि तत्कालीन यूपीए सरकार ने ये एश्योरेंस भी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर दिया था, लेकिन उन्होंने पूरा नहीं किया। और चूंकि इस अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संधि को 2005 में हमने एश्योरेंस दिया था, पूरा करना आवश्यक है और अतएव इस बिल को लोकसभा में रखा गया है, जिसको सर्वसम्मति से पारित किया गया। और मैं ये चाहता हूं कि ये बिल इस राज्यसभा में भी सर्वसम्मति से पारित किया जाए। इस बिल की प्रस्तावना को रखते समय माननीय सभापति महोदय, मैं ये भी कहना चाहूँगा कि अभी हाल ही में 14 से 25 नवंबर 2022 में पनामा में दुनिया में साइटिस की जो कॉप है वो 19 कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑफ पार्टीज हुई थी। हमारे देश में विशेष रूप से फॉरेस्ट में जो हमारे ऑफिसर्स और साइंटिस्ट हैं, उनके प्रयासों के कारण भारत ने जो प्रस्ताव किया और हमारे जो 2 स्पीशीज है टर्टाइल, नेमली रेड क्राउन रॉफ टर्टाइल और सॉफ्ट शेल टर्टाइल, उसको एंडेमिक में अपेंडिक्स 2 से अपेंडिक्स 1 में किया गया। माननीय सभापति महोदय, आप जानते हैं कि विशेष रूप से राजस्थान और हरियाणा के क्षेत्रों में शीशम का वृक्ष बहुतायत से पाया जाता है और स्थानीय कारीगर जो हैं उसके द्वारा विभिन्न चीज़ों का निर्माण करते हैं और हमारे राजस्थान के भी बहुत अच्छे कारीगर इसका निर्यात करते हैं। हम ये चाहते थे कि ये शीशम निर्यात से पूरी तरीके से इसको, जिसको डेल्बर्जियस सिस्को इसका एक बॉटनिक नेम है, हमने इस प्रस्ताव को भी किया। हालांकि प्रस्ताव पास नहीं हुआ, फिर भी हमको इस बार साइटिस से क्लैरिफिकेशन मिला कि 10 केजी के आइटम तक के निर्यात को हम लोग प्रोवाइड कर सकेंगे और एक तरीके से हमको इस साइटिस में और हमारे जो छोटे कारीगर हैं उनको एक बड़ी अच्छी राहत भी मिली है। इस बार ये भी अच्छा रहा कि भारत को स्टैंडिंग कमेटी में एशिया रीजन की तरफ से भारत ने अपना स्थान पाया। लेकिन एक और विषय जो टाइगर कंजर्वेशन में आजकल दुनिया के कुछ देशों में टाइगर की फार्मिंग भी हो रही है और उसके कारण उसका इलीगल ट्रेड बढ़ रहा है, भारत के उस प्रस्ताव को भी वहां पर रखा गया। माननीय सभापति महोदय, मैं आपके सामने ये भी कहना चाहता हूं कि हमारी सरकार पूरी तरीके से वन्य क्षेत्र के संरक्षण के लिए, वन्य जीवों के संरक्षण के लिए पूरी तरीके से प्रतिबद्ध है। हमने पिछले दिनों में अभी हमारे देश में विशेष रूप से टाइगर कंजर्वेशन के लिए काम किया और मुझे बताते हुए खुशी है कि दुनिया का जो 70% जो वर्ल्ड वाइल्ड टाइगर है वो हमारे देश के अंतर्गत है। अभी हमारा एस्टिमेशन का कार्य चल ही रहा है। उसके साथ ही साथ भारत ने 1950 में जो हमारे यहाँ से चीते विलुप्त हुए थे उनको वापस लाकर माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में, जिसको इकोलॉजिकल रॉन्ग जो हमारे देश में हुआ था, इकोलॉजिकल हार्मनी को स्थापित करने के लिए कार्य किया है। हमारे देश के जो टाइगर रिजर्व्स हैं उनको TX2 का अवार्ड भी इंटरनेशनली मिला है। हमारे 16 टाइगर रिजर्व्स को इंटरनेशनल एक्रेडिटेशन भी मिला है। और कई बार मैं ये कहता हूँ कि जब टाइगर कंजर्वेशन की बात हम ये कहते हैं तो कई बार ये विषय उठाया जाता है कि हम इतना जोर क्यों दे रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगा कि हमारी नेशनल टाइगर कंजर्वेशन अथॉरिटी ने एक अभी मैप रिलीज किया है कि हिंदुस्तान की जो मुख्य रूप से दक्षिण क्षेत्र में निकलने वाली नदियाँ है, जो हमारे टाइगर रिजर्व के जो कंजर्वेशन एरिया है, वहीं से उनका उद्गम का स्रोत है और इसलिए उन जंगलों को बचाना, वहाँ की इकोलॉजी को बचाना, वहाँ की इकोलॉजिकल सिस्टम को बचाना, ये बहुत आवश्यक है। इसके साथ ही साथ मैं आपको ये बताना चाहूँगा कि हमारे विशेष रूप से बंगाल के क्षेत्र में जो सुंदरबन टाइगर रिजर्व एरिया है, उसको भारत और बांग्लादेश के सहयोग के साथ बायलैटरल पार्टनरशिप हमने करी है, उसको हम आगे बढ़ाने का काम कर रहे हैं। अब चीता इंट्रोडक्शन के साथ ही साथ हमारे देश में प्रोजेक्ट लायन के ऊपर काम किया जा रहा है, जिसको माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने 15 अगस्त 2020 को लाल किले से घोषित भी किया गया था और पूरी दुनिया का जो 100% एशियाटिक लॉयन है वो भारत के अंतर्गत है। हमारे देश में जो रिवर क्षेत्र में एक बहुत बड़ा जो हमारा एक संरक्षण का क्षेत्र है, वहाँ पे प्रोजेक्ट डॉल्फिन है। प्रोजेक्ट डॉल्फिन को कंजर्वेशन को लेकर भी काम कर रहे हैं। हमारे कई सदस्यों के पत्र भी मेरे को लगातार मैन एनिमल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के ऊपर, ह्यूमन एनिमल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के ऊपर लगातार आते हैं। हमारी सरकार के द्वारा फरवरी 2021 में इसको लेकर के एक सर्कुलर जारी किया गया था और उसके साथ ही साथ जो बाकी के विषय हैं उनको भी मैं विस्तार से आपके सामने, जब हमारे सदस्य इस विषय को रखेंगे, मैं आपके सामने विस्तार के साथ रखूंगा। लेकिन इस जो संशोधन है, इस संशोधन को लाने के हमारे दो उद्देश्य हैं। पहला उद्देश्य जो हमारा इंटरनेशनल ट्रीटी है, उस इंटरनेशनल ट्रीटी का भारत जो सदस्य बना और अभी हाल ही में जो हमारे भारत का प्रतिनिधिमंडल जाके आया है, उसकी आवश्यकता और भारत के नेतृत्व की क्षमता को देखते हुए उसको हमारे लीगल प्रोविजन में लाना आवश्यक था। उसके साथ ही साथ जो हमारे वन्य क्षेत्र में लंबे समय से रहने वाले जो ट्रेडिशनल कम्युनिटीज़ के जो लोग हैं, जो ट्राइबल लोग हैं, जब हम उनका विस्थापन करते हैं तो उनके जो उनके मवेशियों के लिए और बाकी लोगों के लिए जो उनके परंपरागत अधिकार है, उसमें कुछ हद तक कुछ विषयों पे संरक्षण जब तक उनका पूरी तरीके से पुनर्स्थापन ना हो देना आवश्यक था। इस प्रकार की एक संवेदनशील सरकार के द्वारा कि हम वन के विकास के साथ ही साथ वहाँ पे रहने वाले जो स्थानीय समुदाय हैं उनके संरक्षण और उनके विषयों को भी आगे लेकर के चलें, क्योंकि हमारे देश में प्रकृति के साथ रहने की एक परंपरागत सोच है। प्रकृति के साथ जीवन जीने का हमारे यहाँ एक जीवन पद्धति है। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने दुनिया का जो क्लाइमेट चेंज का जो संकट आया है उसके लिए भी पूरी दुनिया को एक मिशन लाइफ का विजन दिया है। वह विजन भी प्रकृति के साथ, और हम ज़्यादातर जिसको माइंडफुल कंजम्पशन कह सकते हैं, माइंडलेस यूटिलाइजेशन की दर है वो है। और इसलिए ये जो वाइल्ड लाइफ एक्ट है, इसमें ये जो संशोधन है, ये आज के समय की अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संधि के अंतर्गत भी आवश्यकता है। और कुछ हम अपने स्थानीय प्रशासन को सुदृढ़ करने के लिए, अपने एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को सुदृढ़ करने के लिए, स्थानीय समुदाय को रियायत देने के लिए हम इन संशोधनों को लेकर के आए हैं। मैं सदन से आग्रह करूंगा कि वो सर्वसम्मति से इसको पारित करें। इतना ही कह के मैं इस बिल की प्रस्तावना आपके सामने रखूं।
मोशन मूव्ड श्री विवेक तनखा।
First of all, this is my first debate before the Honorable Chairman, and I hope the Chairman is still there for the debate. Yeah, it's okay.
I thought the safest way to take a respite is when a distinguished member of the same fraternity, a senior advocate, who normally on the first day will have no option but to be indulgent.
Sir, before I start, let me give a little brief background of this law. I'm sure most of the members would know this. Sir, this wildlife protection concept was the first time enacted by way of a law in 2012 when we brought Wild Birds and Animal Protection Act 2012. And that continued for many, many years. This power to enact on wildlife was basically reserved for the states. ये state का power था, state legislature का, but with the 42nd constitutional amendment in 1977, this power was transferred to the concurrent list from the state list. Pehle it used to be entry 20 of the state list. Now it is entry 17, 17A, 17B of the concurrent list. So आज के दिन on this subject, both the state as well as the center can legislate, but if there is an overlapping field, then the state legislation can only come into effect with the assent of the president. That's the law. 1972, before the amendment of this act, the Wildlife Protection Act was enacted. Even though at that time, the power was with the state, because about 11 states passed resolutions at that time that we want a central enactment. This is an all-India subject, and this subject is something which has to be addressed nationally. So that is why in 1972, the Parliament, under the constitutional power, made a law in terms of a state subject, which was called the Wildlife Protection Act, 72. इस Protection Act में बहुत सारे amendments हुए बीच में. Now this is one stage at which broad-based amendments have come. These amendments deal with Rio Treaty also. These amendments deal with many, many conventions. But I think the basic facet of this entire amendment is, as the Honorable Minister said, to fill up the loopholes, to fill up the gaps in the various sections across various chapters. But कुछ बातें ऐसी हैं जो मेरे ओपिनियन में आपसे छूट गई, क्योंकि कितना भी आप concentrate करके law बना लीजिए, if it doesn't go to a standing committee or a select committee, there will always be areas which get left out. So I'm going to basically be speaking on areas जो छूट गए हैं, which are left out. Now, let me start with section 43. Section 43 is the section जिसमें सबसे ज़्यादा विवाद है इस वक्त. This is the section, sir, in which you permit the transfer and transportation of elephants. ये हमारे गणेश जी हैं, और गणेश जी का ट्रांसफर और ट्रांसपोर्टेशन आपको अगर करना है तो उसके लिए आपको बहुत केयरफुल होना पड़ेगा. प्रॉब्लम अरोज बिकॉज जो एक्ट इन्होंने प्रोवाइजो लाए हैं, जो प्रोवाइजो सेक्शन 43 पे प्रपोज्ड है, इट सेज दिस कैन बी डन, ये एलिफेंट ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एंड ट्रांसफर कैन बी डन फॉर रिलीजियस, वो तो ठीक है, और फॉर एनी अदर पर्पस. और एनी अदर पर्पस सेक्शन 63 में ये कहते हैं कि हम रूल्स के थ्रू डील करेंगे. नाउ दैट हैज लेफ्ट अ बिग गैप. आप एनी अदर पर्पस करके आपने इसको इतना वेग कर दिया है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन हु इज इन पावर, हु थिंक्स हाउ. ये चीजें में इवन टच ह्यूमन सेंसिबिलिटी. एलिफेंट हैज बीन अ इशू विद द, आपको मालूम है पहले एलिफेंट यूज्ड टू बी, हाथी एक डोमेस्टिक एनिमल जैसे ट्रीट किया जाता रहा अंडर द एक्ट. It's only the last 30-40 years that the elephant became an endangered species or a protected species. Not an endangered, but a protected species. आज problem ये है कि अगर हम elephant को, if we allow elephant to be used for any other purpose, तो उसमें इतने सारे बड़े issues हो जाएंगे, because आपको अंदाज नहीं है कि 2675 captive elephants इंडिया में है. 2675, और उनमें 1251, दैट इज 1251 के पास ही ओनरशिप सर्टिफिकेट है अंडर सेक्शन 42. दीज आर पेटा फिगर्स व्हिच आई हैव टेकन, सर. द प्रॉब्लम इज आपके पास एक ह्यूज एलिफेंट का कांग्रीगेशन है जिसकी ओनरशिप सर्टिफिकेट्स भी अभी तक डिसाइडेड नहीं है. The problem which is going to arise is, अगर आपने इस प्रोवाइजर को इतना वीक छोड़ा और इतना indeterminate छोड़ा, तो this is going to cause problem in the times ahead. आज तो आप लॉ पास कर देंगे, बट आगे चल के ये एक इशू इस देश में बनेगा. इसी तरह आपको मैं बताना चाहता हूं कि जो प्रोवाइजो है, एक्चुअली इट्स अ प्रोवाइजो टू 43(1). आप अगर सेक्शन देखेंगे, ये प्रोवाइजो एक्चुअली फिट्स इनटू 43(1) एंड नॉट 43(2). वो कोई बहुत बड़ी चीज नहीं है, बट पॉसिबली इट शुड हैव बीन अ प्रोवाइजो टू 43(1) एंड नॉट 43(2). द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट दैट आई वुड लाइक टू मेक इज अबाउट सेक्शन 49M. नाउ ये बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है सर. 49M में you have to give a self declaration. मतलब आपको खुद डिक्लेयर करना पड़ता है कि अगर शेड्यूल 4 के एनिमल्स अगर आपके पोजेशन में है तो यू हैव टू मेक अ डिक्लेरेशन टू द कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी. देखिए मेरे घर में कोई डियर है या टाइगर कब है या एनी एंडेंजर, वो जितनी स्पीशीज वहाँ स्पेसिफाइड है, बहुत बड़ी लिस्ट है वो, स्पेशली बर्ड्स की भी बहुत बड़ी लिस्ट है. आपको एक डिक्लेरेशन देना पड़ता है और हाउ दैट डिक्लेरेशन इज टू बी मेड, वो 49M के बाद बहुत सारे सबसेक्शंस हैं. प्रॉब्लम इसमें दूसरी भी है कि आपने वो तो आदमी व्यक्ति के लिए तो बोल दिया कि ही शुड गिव अ डिक्लेरेशन. द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट आपने थर्ड पार्टी को कंप्लेंट करने का हक नहीं दिया इन अ सेंस. तो अगर हमने सपोज डिक्लेरेशन नहीं दिया तो एक्ट में कॉन्ट्रवेंशन होगा. कॉन्ट्रवेंशन में पनिशमेंट होती है अंडर सेक्शन 51. दैट वो किक स्टार्ट तभी होगा जब कोई फॉरेस्ट अथॉरिटी उसको डिस्कवर करेगा. सर, जिस बिल्डिंग में मेरा ऑफिस है सिल्वर आर्च, आज से 10 साल पहले वहां ऑस्ट्रिच मिली थी. सालों से वो ऑस्ट्रिच वहां रहती थी. सडनली एक दिन डिस्कवर किया गया कि ऑस्ट्रिच वहां किसी ने पाल के रखी है. दैट इज एन एनिमल और स्पीशीज दैट हैज टू बी डिक्लेयर्ड. तो समवेयर एक ये प्रोविजन भी अगर आप करें, इट माइट हेल्प इन द डिक्लेरेशन प्रोसेस कि थर्ड पार्टी जिसको नॉलेज है, नेबरहुड में जरूर नॉलेज होता है कि आपके नेबर के पास कौन से एनिमल्स हैं, और नेबर जरूर जाके बता सकता है कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटी को दैट सर इनके पास ये है और इसके लिए ही मस्ट बी आस्क्ड टू डिक्लेयर. तो कुछ ये प्रोविजंस को अगर आपको स्ट्रिक्टली एनफोर्स करना है तो आपको पॉसिबली पब्लिक पार्टिसिपेशन को भी इसमें इनकरेज करना पड़ेगा. इसी तरह एक इशू है अबाउट entry of issue of every national park and sanctuary. Now this is something जो आपको completely आपने मिस कर दिया. Sir, there is what you call a 1 kilometer eco-sensitive zone rule. ये 1 kilometer eco-sensitive जो zone rule है, ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने के जजमेंट से आया. अब क्या हो गया, द सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अभी 30 नवंबर को एक ऑर्डर किया in the context of Tungareshwar Wildlife Sanctuary, मुंबई के पास है, that this 1 kilometer eco-sensitive rule will not apply as it is, मतलब it is flexible. इसके पहले on 28 September also, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के पास जब ये मैटर गया था, तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट in the context of Sanjay Gandhi National Park and Thane Creek Flaming Sanctuary, it had relaxed this rule. अब आपने as a parliament, you have this opportunity. You have an opportunity to amend. इस issue को आपने deal नहीं किया. अब problem ये है कि ये this will now go by judicial verdict, case by case. National parks के पास जिनको issues आएंगे, वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाएंगे. गोदा वर्मन की एक permanent bench चलती है, हमारे honorable minister उससे परिचित भी हैं. वहां आप application लगाएंगे और वो फिर रिलैक्स करेंगे 1 किलोमीटर के अंदर से इको सेंसिटिव जोन में रिलैक्स करा जा सकता है कि नहीं करा जा सकता, किन चीजों के लिए किया जा सकता, क्या यहाँ होटल आ सकते हैं, होटल आएंगे तो किस प्रकार के होटल आएंगे, क्या यहाँ पर वेलनेस सेंटर्स आएंगे, जो भी करना है इको सेंसिटिव जोन में आप जो भी करेंगे उसको आपको इको सेंसिटिव वे में ही करना पड़ेगा. तो उसके भी रूल्स बनने, उसके बारे में भी सोच होनी चाहिए थी. तो एक बहुत बड़ा एरिया जो कि एक अपॉर्चुनिटी थी टू एड्रेस, ये इस वक्त इनसे मेरे ओपिनियन में छूट गया है, बिकॉज ये एरिया इज नाउ बीइंग डेल्ट बाय सुप्रीम कोर्ट रादर देन द पार्लियामेंट और द एग्जीक्यूटिव. एंड व्हाई आई एम सेइंग दिस इज एन अपॉर्चुनिटी लॉस्ट, बिकॉज इको सेंसिटिव एरिया जो है इसका इट इज पार्ट ऑफ आवर हेरिटेज. सर, हमारी जो नेशनल हेरिटेज है उसका वो पार्ट है. हम पूरा जो हेरिटेज है 3 प्रिंसिपल्स पे वर्क करते हैं. प्रिकॉशनरी प्रिंसिपल होता है कि हम चीजों को खराब ना होने दें, हम चीजों को बिगड़ने ना दें. दूसरा होता है पॉल्यूटर पेज, जो व्यक्ति इकोलॉजी को खराब करता है उसको आप दंडित करते हो. यू टेक फाइन फ्रॉम हिम, यू टेक पेनल्टीज फ्रॉम हिम एंड मेक इट सो सिवियर दैट ही विल नॉट डू इट अगेन. एंड थर्ड इज इंटरजेनरेशनल इक्विटी. मतलब हम ये जो सब कर रहे हैं, rightly so, as the honorable minister said, we are doing this all for the future. ये हम अपने आगे वाली generations के लिए कर रहे हैं. And as he rightly said, tiger farming is a concept. Southeast Asia में, it's a concept which thousands of people go and enjoy. वहाँ पर tigers are tamer than dogs. I mean, आपके Indian dogs are more ferocious than a Thailand tiger. तो as I said, wildlife का concept भी change हो रहा है, ecology का concept भी change हो रहा है. Wildlife is also now a revenue earning machine. कई African countries through wildlife, this is that main economy. Then असली जो पूरा उनका जो earning है is out of that wildlife. तो हमको उसको भी ध्यान में रखना है, हमको अपनी इकोलॉजी को भी बचाना है, हमको बहुत सारी चीजों पे ध्यान रख के ही इस चीज को आगे बढ़ाना है. तो जितना एग्रेसिव हम इस चीजों को, but this aggression has to be a very consultative aggression. It can't be an aggression जिसमें आप किसी चीज को रोक दो. I still remember, हम तो गोदावरमन केस में, I was appearing for years as counsel for Madhya Pradesh. And हम लोग की तो सबसे ज़्यादा applications वहाँ pending होती थी. मेरा शहर जबलपुर कि all around eco-sensitive parks हैं. There's Kanha on one side, Bandhavgarh on one side, Pench on another side. आप जहाँ जाएं, उस सब तरफ हमारे ये sanctuaries हैं, tiger reserves हैं. तो ये भी एक बहुत बड़ी earning का जरिया बन सकते हैं. तो as you rightly said, sir, that it is correct that law amendments are necessary. But when we make these laws, we also should not lose opportunities which the law gives us to make an intergenerational future. क्योंकि हम जो law आज बना रहे हैं, this is not only for us, it is also for the future. Our children are going to enjoy this law. Not only the law, the environment which creates out of this law. तो मेरा यही कहना है, while nobody will be objecting to this bill per se, but there are so many gaps in this bill, whether it be 43M, and this Supreme Court judgment which has not been taken into consideration. I would like the minister to take these facts into consideration before finalizing the bill, so that at least when you finalize a thing, you have a comprehensive picture before you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mani Vinay Tankhaji. Dr. Kanimoji, please.
Honorable Chairman, sir, wildlife wealth is the world's natural wealth. The protection and conservation of wildlife is the need of the hour and is one of the most important duties of the government and people to protect our wildlife wealth. Sir, the Wildlife Protection Amendment Bill amends the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 and seeks to increase the species protected under the law and implement the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. Sir, the human population has grown exponentially over the past 200 years to more than 7 billion people today, and it continues to grow rapidly. This means the natural resources are being consumed faster than ever by the billions of people on the planet. This growth and development and also endangers the habitats and existence of the various types of wildlife around the world. So humans are being the current rate of species extinction, which is at least 100 to 1,000 times higher than the nature intended. According to the WWF's Living Planet Report 2018, the world has witnessed an astonishing 60% decline in the size of populations of mammals, birds, fishes, reptiles, and amphibians in just over 40 years. In a healthy biome and biodiversity, world humans are the culprits. Their greed for development and advancement has made detrimental to the world wildlife. Therefore, any law which is aimed to protect and conserve wildlife population is absolutely necessary. So there is a conflict of interest between Forest Rights Act and the Wildlife Protection Act. Protection of wildlife is important. At the same time, protection of the forest rights of the scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers living near the protected wildlife zones. A near total ban on grazing, coupled with the system that undo the FRA has made life difficult of locals, stripping them their rights. Sir, cattle grazing has been recognized under the Tamil Nadu Forest Act 1882. The court then revised its order on March 17th. Now cattle grazing became legally permissible in forests outside tiger reserves, sanctuaries and national parks. In effect, the verdict removed 8,101.79 square kilometer or 35.42% of forests and 6.23% of the state total's area from Tamil Nadu grazing area, even from those who were illegitimate right holders. The court thus rewrote the provisions of two major laws that the Parliament has enacted in 2006, the 2006 Amendment to the Wildlife Protection Act and the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, rendered tiger reserves a statutory category and prescribed provisions for the notifications. The government has since notified 52 tiger reserves, both of which were designed to protect, preserve, conserve and manage forest, wildlife and biodiversity. According to the Wildlife Protection Act, Tamil Nadu has to prepare a tiger conservation plan to protect the agricultural, livelihood, developmental and other interests of the people living in the tiger reserves. The core area, the critical tiger habitat, is to be established without affecting the rights of the scheduled tribes or such other forest dwellers, while the buffer area should promote coexistence between wildlife and human activity with due recognition of livelihood, development, social and cultural rights of the local people. Separately, the scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers recognize grazing and traditional seasonal resource access of nomadic communities. That is, it accorded community rights to the village to be regulated by its Grama Sabha and not an individual grazing permit to be granted on payment of the prescribed fees by the forest department. This has to be followed without any hindrances to the tribal population and traditional forest dwellers. Sir, in the vast country like our India, different regions will have different wildlife population. The wildlife species living in Western Ghats are not expected to be seen in the Aravalli ranges of the north. The wildlife in the northeast India is much different from those in the Eastern Ghats. Therefore, the state governments are better equipped to act upon the wildlife protection and conservation. I urge the Union Government to have a consultation with the state governments in forming the management authority and to provide adequate representation from the states in the composition of the authority. Sir, the pristine environment of the forest are deteriorating due to the unregulated tourism. Untreated sewage and plastic wastage have endangered the environment. Only if the people realize the importance of the clean environment and cooperate with the local administration, the natural resources can be protected. In Tamil Nadu, the Eastern Ghats and the Western Ghats are natural boon to protect fauna and flora typical to this weather and environment. We have tremendous coastal and marine habitat. Therefore, in protecting the wildlife, Tamil Nadu plays an important role. For DMK government in Tamil Nadu, several wildlife sanctuaries and wildlife parks, zoos, bird sanctuaries have been established in Tamil Nadu over the last 50 years. The project Save Tigers and Save Elephants have been successfully implemented in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is one of the best served countries in the countries as far as the wildlife protection is concerned.